Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with the first Power Five schedule preview, looking at Georgia for 2023. We're going to kind of do these teams. Uh, we're going to do them at random. If you have a request for a Power Five team, drop it in the comments below. I think we're going to start. We want to start every year with the defending champs and then work our way through. But our goal this year at Ballard Sports Media, if we could do every Power Five team and preview their schedules and give a prediction, I think I call it a successful offseason. So, got a long way to go. We just wrapped up 2022 in the books. And of course, why not start with the Georgia Bulldogs, who went back to back 15-0 national champions? Overall, a great season, a really great season. When you look at what they did this year, um, they beat teams like Oregon. They beat South Carolina after beating a team in Sanford. Um, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vanderbilt, bye week, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Georgia Tech. Okay, they're 12-0. They're going into the SEC title game. They demolished LSU. I know they gave up 30 points, and it was the most they gave up this season. Actually, that's not true. I think the most they gave up was the Peach Bowl against Ohio State at 42 points, or 41 points, I'm sorry. But they scored 50 points in the game. That's impressive for Stetson Bennett and everyone that was a part of this Georgia team. You look at Ohio State, 42-41, probably the best semifinal matchup we've had in the CFP era. And, of course, the national title, 65. Gosh, I'm still laughing at this, TCU. Oh, Georgia's that good of a team. I get that. But come on, TCU let it happen. 65-7 at SoFi Stadium a couple weeks ago. Or 1 week. Has it been only 1 week? Gosh, this week's been long. As I record this on the 17th, Tuesday the 17th. Shout out to all the Psych fans who get that reference. It's an episode. Anyway, Georgia 15-0, national champions back to back. That is what they did this year in 2022. But we look this next season in 2023 at their schedule upcoming. Here's the thing. They are going to lose some guys to the NFL draft. But they recruit so well on defense and they recruit so well offensively that they're one of those teams that no matter how much they lose, like look at Alabama. Okay. Look at everything they lost. They lost Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, going back to 2020. Landon Dickerson. I think Alex Leatherwood left. And they got back to the national title. They lost it to Georgia, but they got back there. I think that's the situation for Georgia. They're going to get back there. Question is, can they three-peat, which we have never really seen in the modern era of college ball. Let's take a look at their 2023 schedule here. Let me put it like this. And let's zoom in. Can they do better than 15-0? No, they cannot. But basically, Georgia's looking for a three-peat if they want a better season. They got to go 15-0 and win it all again. They open up with UT Martin, should be no problem. Ball State should be no problem. South Carolina gets interesting. UAB, I like UAB, love them to death. One of the great teams in the state of Alabama. But again, should be no problem for Georgia. Their first true test, they get into SEC play with South Carolina, so I guess maybe that's their first true test to see what this team is, where this team is. You have a quarterback situation with Stetson gone. You have Carson Beck, you got Brock Vandergriff, you got Gunnar Stockton. These guys going to battle it out. I think it's probably going to be Carson Beck most likely. But getting back to the schedule, UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, at Auburn, Kentucky, at Vandy. Get a bye week. Always get the bye week before Florida in the swamp or in Jacksonville, in the state of Florida, whatever. It's all swampy. Missouri, Ole Miss, and at Tennessee, and then at Georgia Tech. It is so rare that I pick a team to go undefeated in the regular season. Could we see that with Georgia? Honestly, and I haven't looked at Tennessee for 2023 yet. I'm going to go ahead and we'll make this one quick because I know in the past I've done like 20-minute preview videos. I don't want to make this one too long on you. We'll try to keep it under 20 minutes if we can, 20 minutes or less. This is for Georgia, set up to be another run for the SEC East, and possibly an SEC title if they can take on Alabama or whoever comes out of the West. We haven't looked at those teams yet. Vanderbilt. Let's talk about these games. UT Martin, Ball State, no problem. I forgot to make a banner, but going forward, I will try to remember to do this. Let's talk about trap games here. What games are the ones they should win, but if they're not careful, they could slip up? The first one that sticks out is South Carolina. Remember, South Carolina with who do they have? What's that guy's name? Jake Bentley? Is that his name? Remember that quarterback that had been there forever? 2019, pre-COVID. South Carolina did win in Athens. Yeah. So there's that. I don't think the UT Martins, the UABs, the Ball States, those are not the trap games. It's got to be SEC teams, right? I don't think Georgia Tech's it either. South Carolina could be difficult. I don't think Kentucky's quite there. I don't think Vanderbilt. Going to Auburn. Now, Georgia recently has had success, but in years past, go back to 2013, 2017, it hasn't exactly been their year. They got to be careful on the road at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And who knows what Hugh Freeze is going to do this year with Auburn. Could be interesting. We'll get to them later. Florida could be interesting with Billy Napier in year 2. They got Jaden Rashada as a 5-star quarterback coming in. Or they're supposed to. I know I don't think I went through with that video, but I tried to make a video on it the other day and talk about it. He hasn't enrolled. We don't know what the situation is with Rashada. But Florida's recruiting greatly right now with Billy Napier. They really are, and it's on track. They got a coach that cares. Again, more about a team like Florida when we talk about Florida. Missouri, same thing. Don't know what they look like this year yet, but it should be no problem for Georgia. They get Ole Miss from the SEC West this year outside of Auburn. Jackson Dart, I believe, comes back for the Rebels. Lane Kiffin, high-flying offense. Again, I believe in Georgia's defense this year. Should be no problem at home. If it were on the road, that's a different story. At Tennessee, late in the season, I think Tennessee could get off to a little bit of a bumpy start without Hendon Hooker and a couple guys. I think they got Joe Milton. They got a quarterback battle in Knoxville, Joe Milton, and then the 5-star Nicholas Olivia. Yeah, he gonna leave you. Georgia Tech, right? Really, the bottom line is this, folks. This is what I see for Georgia. I will go ahead and give a record prediction. Again, this one, kind of a quick video. Try to keep these under 20 minutes if we can. I'm going to just be quick. They lose some players. Again, Kearis Jackson declared. I think Stetson's already declared. Christopher Smith is declared. Also, by the way, our thoughts and prayers are with the family of that offensive lineman who was killed this week in a car crash, man, a couple days ago. Devin Willock, and a staff member, Chandler LaCroix. This I'm getting from USA Today. Thoughts and prayers are with them and their families, man. That is tough news. Um, it's just sad when you see that stuff happen to young college kids. And I mean, there's really not else I have to say other than our thoughts and prayers. They lost Jacob Hood to the transfer portal. They're losing Kearis Jackson to the draft. Stetson's most likely gone. They had a linebacker transfer to Nebraska. Offensive lineman to the draft. Darnell Washington actually has decided to enter the draft. So a lot of these guys that won back-to-back championships for Georgia, they are going to the draft. Some guys are transferring out. But Georgia is one of those teams that, because of how they recruit, they can stack up. They don't rebuild, they reload. And it's next man up mentality at Georgia, much like it is at Alabama. So there's that. Bottom line is this. I'm going to give Georgia an 11-1 record, and I think the only team that's going to trip them up, I think a late game in the season before Georgia Tech. Not that they overlook Tennessee. I just think Tennessee, I think they could be really good this year too, and I think late in the season, a game in Knoxville could trip up Georgia. So their losses at Tennessee. That being said, again, we haven't looked at Tennessee, but you could see Georgia, if they win that Tennessee game, 12-0. Because I honestly, I think they're even better than Tennessee. I just think it's very hard for me to predict a perfect season. It's very hard to do that. And it's hard for Georgia. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them once again as the defending champs. Now, obviously, we saw what they were able to do this year in 2022, but again, they did have some guys come back that said, I want another ring. They have those guys leaving now who went back to back. And, it's going to be a new team. It's going to be a new year for Georgia. I think they're still going to be elite. They're going to be one of the best, top 5 in the country all year. But again, I got them losing to Tennessee. I think it should set up that way. Like, at best, they run the table, go 12-0, go into the playoffs or the SEC championship, I should say, and they go from there. At worst, 10-2. I mean, actually, really, for me personally, my preference, or not even a preference, what am I saying? My prediction at worst for Georgia is they only drop a game. I don't see how they could lose 2 games because they're just that motivated. Now, they got to be careful with the trap games. Got to be careful with a team like South Carolina coming up. You got to be careful at Auburn. You never know about that Jordan Hare environment. You got to be careful against your rivals in Florida. Got to be careful with Ole Miss. Got to be careful about Tennessee, which is the only game I see them losing. But again, we'll just wait and see. I hope you enjoyed this preview. I know I didn't go into too much detail with this, but Georgia fans, let me know what you guys think. You got to be realistic. A 3P is very, very hard. It's doable, but it's very, very hard. And you got to understand, I know Kirby said they won't be hunted, and he probably believes that this next season, and I don't blame him. Georgia has established himself as the new standard in college ball, but at the same time, you can't win it every single year. I know you just went back to back. I understand that. 15-0 perfection. Congratulations. You got to set realistic goals, though. A 3-peat, that hasn't been done in nearly a century in college football. So, 11-1, win the East, make it to Atlanta. We go from there. Hey, I love you guys. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And let me know your thoughts on Georgia in 2023. We're going to keep it rolling here. Try to knock out every Power 5 team this offseason if possible. And, yeah, we'll see what we can do. I love y'all. Peace out. Bye.